Hey guys, it's Lane here with HobbiesofaMan once again, and today we're doing our check-in video for the month of September. So, a little bit of an update. I did start an internship. It's my first real internship, although it's not necessarily my first job. I've had 2 jobs beforehand that were not really like proper adult jobs, I guess you could call them. I was a tutor for a classmate when I was in high school. And then I had a job on campus my first year of college, which was it was like a parking job, I guess, but I basically drove golf carts around campus trying to help people move faster through campus, right? And now I started my internship at on the 3rd of September. So I've only really been working for about a week and a half. And it's been pretty interesting. I'm not going to share any personal details about that. I don't want to. But it's been nice. I was very happy with the way I was brought onto the team, and it's been pretty cool. It ties into my MBA classes very, very nicely. The only thing is that it does eat up a lot of my time. I do get a lunch break, and I probably can read during the lunch break, but so far I haven't done so. But because of the way my MBA classes work out, I don't have any free time at all Monday and Tuesday. So half of my week basically is taken up by just school and work, right? And then the rest of it is a bit more balanced, but not quite as balanced as I would like it. But that's okay because it should help me finish my college, my MBA program faster. So if I'm lucky, I'll get credit for schooling for my internship, and that should work out really, really nicely, and hopefully that does happen. But yeah, it's been great. I've been pretty tired the first couple of days, but it's not been a big deal. I think I should be able to maintain at least a pretty consistent 3 to 4 videos a week still, so hopefully that does work out. But if not, it's fine. I don't really mind too much because I don't really make money off YouTube anyway, so it's not like it makes a huge difference, although I will kind of end up falling off one of my hobbies, which is not great, but it is what it is. In terms of, everything else, it's been good. So, yeah, in terms of what I've been watching Dare to Dance Season 2, Togen Anki Season 1, and Peacemaker Season 2. Don't really have too much to say about them that I haven't said already, so I'm not really going to, but Togen Anki is a very interesting show. And I don't mean that in like the positive way. I mean that in like how was this allowed to continue to serialize? And then why did they turn it into an anime? Because Japan has like insane rules against plagiarism, against taking credit for things that you didn't make, and against IP infringement, right? And Togen Anki is like the most IP infringing manga series I've ever seen. Like, it basically just copy pastes like 15 different series together, and then it doesn't even try to like hide it well, and so it's really weird. There is some originality to it. I mean, the Momotaro versus Oni thing is pretty cool. It's a nice inversion of the traditional story, but the vibe, the style, the character designs, the powers, all of the attacks, all of it just feels like they took the best from Shonen Jump and the best from Young Magazine, and they squished it together, right? Whatever the Kodansha Shonen Jump equivalent is, they took from there, and they took from Shonen Jump, and they just combined it and smushed it. And so you have like a character that's basically a gun devil from Chainsaw Man. You have a character that's just Chainsaw Man. You have a character that has Rasengan. You have a character who has a Titan as her power set. You have a character who's a boxer, which I guess that one's different from Shonen Jump, but not quite, because a lot of Shonen Jump characters are martial artists. Basically, it's very, very like clearly just mixing and matching from a bunch of other series. And given that previously there's been Shonen Jump series that were canceled because people didn't like that it was based around plagiarism, I don't see how this serialized and continued to serialize and did so well enough that it's deserving an anime adaptation, deserves as many volumes of a manga as it does, which I think it's like 25 or 40 or something like that. Like, it's a lot of volumes that it has available in Japan. They're currently coming out in English, and the thing is that I am entertained watching it. Most of the time, I can't help but notice the the IP infringement, and then just kind of get annoyed, because it's like, dude, you couldn't come up with anything original, like, really, at all. Like, there's so many cooler things and more interesting things they could have done. And they just chose to use the same things that someone else has already done. And it just kind of comes off as kind of boring. Or kind of, not even boring, it comes off as lazy. And that's kind of annoying. So, I don't know. I feel like frustrated and also kind of like entertained every time I watch Tougen Anki. And I did think about buying some of the manga volumes, but I decided not to. I'm just going to watch the anime while I have access to Netflix, and maybe I'll stop watching the anime altogether if I get annoyed by it, going forward. But it's been fine. It's just kind of weird, and I don't know how it's been possible that it continues on, because in any other situation, I feel like Japan would have been like, no, fuck this. Like, when they in Dan to Dan, when they showed the song that looks like X Japan and sounds like Kurenai from X Japan, apparently it's been like a whole issue in Japan, right? But then you have Tougen Anki, which is like clearly ripping off Naruto, One Piece, Fairy Tail, what's it called? Fire Force, and like a bunch of other series, and nothing happens to that series. And everyone's okay with it. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, the way that Japan looks at that sort of stuff just is so inconsistent, and it doesn't make any sense to me. But it's whatever. It's not that important. So, in terms of reading, I read through a bunch of stuff for Sumerian September. So I read through The Haunter in the Ring, The Bulldog Breed, Fist and Fang. I read through one or two stories in this boxing stories book, Fist of Iron, round 1 of 4. This one, I read through the Ace Jessel story, The Spirit of Tom Molyneux, and another one called The Brute Eternal. Well, actually, The Brute Eternal is a essay by Chris Gruber, and it's pretty interesting. I've quite liked it. It talks about atavism and this kind of idea of this like brutal kind of character that Robert E. Howard kind of came up with, this archetype of a character who's just like primal in execution and in reality, but kind of falls into the vestments of civilization, right? But kind of feels constrained by them, right? And it's been pretty cool. I've enjoyed reading through all of that. It's been pretty fun. I have reviews for all of the books that all of the stories I mentioned on my other channel, which is the Sword and Sorcery Book Club. And otherwise, I did read through a lot of single issues. So I do have the Cyber Sword Conan, but it's somewhere over there, so I'm not going to show it to you. But it was Cyber Sword Conan number 10. Then I read through this stack here, which is Gehenna, Naked Aggression number 3. This was pretty fun. I like this character quite a lot. Then we have Trinity, Daughter of Wonder Woman number 3. This one was okay. It was kind of fun. I did enjoy it, but the plot element, like the main plot element, didn't work for me. And then we have Aquaman number 8. This is the last issue that I'm going to pick up. It does continue on, and I think it's by the same team. So it'll be interesting to see where it lands, but I'm just not interested in continuing to read it at this point. Here we have Justice League Dark Tomorrow. This is a special that ties into the all-in kind of like overarching initiative, and this was pretty good. It follows the Gold Beetle, and it's a pretty good kind of just like time-traveling story. Then we have Marvel All-on-One, The Thing. This is versus the Marvel Universe, and this was a really fun one. I actually really enjoyed this. The ending was a bit surprising. It kind of had that subverting expectations kind of concept to it, but it was really fun, and the art style in this was phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed it. Then we have Bug Wars number 6. This was the end of the first book, and it didn't really appeal to me as much as I thought it would. I didn't necessarily dislike it, but I just don't know if when the second book comes around, I'll be picking it up, because I'm not sure that I cared as much as I thought I would, because it almost feels like Jason Aaron and Mahmoud Asrar had this really great concept, and in developing the concept, they kind of ballooned it a bit farther out than they needed to, and it doesn't have the scope necessary, or sorry, the storytelling doesn't have the scope necessary to match the world building that they created. And so there's like a mismatch there, and it makes it so maybe it doesn't come off as interesting as I thought the premise initially made it seem. Mostly because the character is supposed to be like this chosen one, this person that's going to be the go-between between humans and the mites, which are tiny insect people, right? And that was not explored at all, or very inconsistently throughout the book. And there's also all of these different characters that show up, and are, because the story only has 6 issues, it almost feels like you just kind of are rolling through a catalog of different character types and not really learning anything about them or developing an interest in any of them. I feel like this series was paced incorrectly. It could have been paced kind of more like Invincible, where it's a slow, methodical progress that ultimately balloons into this awesome thing, instead of this like very quick, like, here's an adventure, this kid has to be a gladiator, blah, 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 blah. Okay, he's back to being large, and there's going to be more story later. Like, it almost felt like this story, these 6 issues of Bug Wars could have been 36 issues on their own. And then something else could have been done with more story after that. So, I don't know. I just feel conflicted about it, I guess. Like, I feels like there was a lot to develop, and it wasn't done so properly. So, I don't know. That's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think down below. We have Ultimate Spider-Man number 20. Then we have Ghost Pepper number 2. Pretty fun. I've really enjoyed these. I'll be doing reviews for them, so I'm not going to mention them too much here. Then we have Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe. And then we have Transformers number 23, which is phenomenal. At the end of this, we have Optimus Prime saying his classic phrase, you know, one will stand, one will fall. And he and Megatron are about to kick each other's asses. So it's going to be really, really cool to read through that final issue of Dana Warren Johnson's run and see how that transitions away into Kirkman's, right? So we'll see how that works out. Then, in the last couple of days, I've read through this short story collection by Ryo Kui, which is the 7 Little Sons of the Dragon. These are 7 different stories. 4 of them are really good. 3 of them are not very good, in my opinion. And they're pretty interesting. I sometimes wonder why Yen Press makes books the way they do, where they have these weird translation note things, like, and they can't bother to put it in a page, so they just print it onto the book, onto the backside of the cover, and it just feels like a weird kind of thing to do. And then they add this color page, but they make it really big, even though the actual good part of the page is not actually as big. And then they add these extra comic books or comic strips that are not put in the correct places that they should be. And so that was a bit weird and annoying, but also it's not that big a deal. It's like whatever. But this was interesting to read. I don't necessarily think it was my favorite thing ever, but I do like collecting as many things as I can from authors I like, and I quite like Ryo Kui right now, so I picked that up. I also bought it used, so it was pretty cheap. And then I did read through DC Mech, which is a one-off kind of Elseworlds type story, although this does leave open room for more, like DC Mech Volume 2 or whatever. This was really fun. I really liked it. I think it's enjoyable. I think it's really fun. It's basically if the Justice League was also Pacific Rim, and instead of having these like nebulous, unknown alien characters throwing kaiju out, it's Apocalypse that's doing it, right? And it's his family and I guess like the evil version of the New Gods doing this. And it was really, really good. The art style is not necessarily my favorite. I don't like how they decided to portray Superman, but everything else was really good. Like, just the style of it looks really awesome. And this was really well thought out, actually. Instead of, like, the way it went when I was reading through Jurassic League, this definitely had a better, like, concept behind it. It was executed much better, or maybe it's just that the creators worked better to develop this story before they published it. Where Jurassic League almost felt like they kind of just put it together last second, whereas this feels like they've been thinking about it for a long time, right? Kenny Porter, Baldemar Rivas, and Mike Spicer did a great job here. Although I don't think they were the only ones that did work on this. Let me see if I can show you all of the creators on this, because everyone did an amazing job. So yeah, Kenny Porter, Baldemar Rivas, Mike Spicer, Tom Napolitano, and a few other people worked on this. And they did a great job. I really, really liked it. It opens up with the JSA, kind of defeating the Nazis at the end of World War II, and then suddenly a giant parademon, Kaiju, shows up. And so humanity has to deal with that, and they now become superhero characters that also have mechs to pilot, right? And it's really cool. I really, really liked it. I had a lot of fun reading through this. I'll do a review for it soon, but I do recommend you guys check this out. I've seen it available for pretty cheap quite a few times in the last couple months, so you know, give it a go. You could probably find it on Amazon for about $10, which is a really, really good deal, right? So yeah, that's everything that I've been reading so far. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you read this last couple weeks, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time.